We are so ready.
Streaming is happening. Things are connecting. Things are happening.
I love when
What
things
is
are
that?
happening.
What's that from The
What?
Jerk? Things are. Oh no, that's from the Jerk. Things are going to
What?
start happening to me now. In that movie, The
Now.
Jerk, with Stephen.
Yes.
With
No, I know. Yes.
Things are going to start happening to us
Oh, I'm hearing you on
now.
a loop.
Well, you might have something.
Oh, here we
open.
go with the music now. It's the Tara Show. It's starting. Oh my goodness, we're going live. Things are going on with Epstein Files. Hey everybody, how are you
Boom.
doing? Dun, 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 dun. Truth is fun. Okay, hi.
What's up?
What? What? I don't know. What's up? Wow, it is all Epstein all the time, y'all. It is a crazy, crazy day. It is Thursday, July the 17th. And Republicans in Congress need to pick a lane very quickly. Very, very quickly, because while some Republicans are ready for a bipartisan vote, some holdouts are like, but wait, no, don't tell us that Trump raped little girls, because then we have to admit it. So,
Well, then they might have to do
let's-
something about it. That's the thing. They might
yeah,
have to
well,
act
they are,
like
though.
they're not lick spittles of a con man.
well,
yeah.
here,
That's gonna be tough.
Here's my take. Here's our take that has always been our take. Like, you won't die if you admit that you were wrong, because you got lied to, and there's whatever part of you wanted to believe that this was happening. You know what? I'm willing to give people some ground. Well, it depends on who the person is. But like, if you're someone who just kind of hung back and was like, well, I'm just going to keep voting whatever Republicans put out there, that's
Right.
one thing.
Like,
But
if
if you
you're
were an active
someone-
MAGA person, you should be able to, at this point, say, all right, good. Guys, I think something's up. Like Joe Walsh the other day.
Well, he's
If
a
I
different story. He's a kid. He's
he's a
the
Republican
exception.
of a different stripe.
Yeah.
But he's an excellent example. And if you were with us on Tuesday, or you had the chance to watch at your leisure, Joe Walsh is a really good example for what MAGA people can do right now, and walk away with some sense of a head held high, in that they admitted in a moment, okay, fine, here is my red line. I will admit I may have been wrong. Do I have to twist your arm? And like the Fonz proved, you will not lose ground. It doesn't make you less masculine if you
The
say
Fonz?
you were wrong.
Who do you
on.
mean, Alfred
Do you not-
Franzarelli?
Arthur Fonzarelli,
Arthur. Oh, I'm sorry.
aka Henry Winkler, for the Gen X kids. One of the things that was hardest for Fonzie to admit is that he was wrong. But what it proved is that it's actually not weakness to admit that you were wrong.
Yeah.
It is strength to
Exactly.
admit that you were wrong, whether or not, whatever it was. And we were talking about this with Joe the other day, because you very much called him on the carpet for his previous voting history. He was a devout member of the Tea Party. He was loud and proud, and
because he was really one of the more rabid Tea Partiers, and I wasn't trying to be a dick about it, like we were saying.
No,
I just wanted to understand why. Like, for example, I always say it on my show that when patriots saw that baboon come down the escalator calling Mexicans rapists, anyone with a clue recoiled from that and saw that for what it was. So why was that okay? And, there are different lines for people, and he basically explained that he was hoping that he could get some of the policies that he believed in, and, basically turning a blind eye to that failing. And I know, like, for me, and I'm sure everybody in general, we all have our blind spots and the things that we would excuse. But I have to say that, and Joe Walsh is incredible. And I'm all about redemption, that's for sure. So the fact that he's out there and he talks about that he's going to spend the rest of his life making up for the harm he's caused, because he was somebody that's, right after this was before Trump got elected the first time, despite receiving fewer votes, he put out a tweet that said, "If Trump loses, we're going to take to the streets with AR-15s. Who's with me?" All right.
Oh my
So
God. See that,
yeah,
and
that
that's not,
kind of
and that's so far from who the guy he is
exactly.
now. And
It's amazing. Yeah.
it's an excellent example for the young white male, or actually all the white males within the MAGA cult. This is an excellent example of you can, as a white man, continue to look strong if you are able to say, I got taken by this con man. I got taken. It happens. I have been taken. I got taken by a con man who we co-hosted a podcast together several years ago, and for whatever reason, he thought he could get money from me when I was making the least money in my life. And eventually, I figured out who he was, and people did the same thing with me that we're trying to do when it comes to Trump, is that they tried to warn me. And
Mm.
this guy was super nice to me, said a lot of things like, "You're very talented and you're very smart and more people need to know about you and you're incredible. And I know an agent in New York and I know how important it is for you to get an agent, and we're going to get you that and we're going to get you this. And, nobody really appreciates the value that you bring." And he spoke to me in a way that made me feel seen, which I know is exactly what Trump did with these MAGA guys. They,
Well,
for the first time, felt seen because
yeah,
there was a
he spoke.
commonality,
Yeah, I mean, he
right?
spoke down to them. He
But
has
he
no filter. Well, and let me
no,
clarify. Actually,
yeah.
now that I'm looking at the Joe Walsh's tweet, and I
Mhm.
misspoke. He said not AR-15. He said, "I'm grabbing my musket. Who's in?" So
Musket, okay, well,
yeah, but still, I mean, it is a call to violence.
right.
So wait, so
Yeah,
yeah,
which I'm sure
just
he
I mean, I
wow.
didn't shove it in his face or anything, because
No, but
he's a
I
great.
bet that's one he'd like to evaporate that from
Yeah,
existence, I'm
and
sure.
I'm not trying to do this because he's not here to defend himself, and he would
Yeah.
probably, when we spoke to him, I mean, clearly he would be, he's atoning for all of this. So I'm not trying to like dig
Yes,
this
he
up and
is, and
say,
that's the
you
point.
suck or anything, because he certainly
Right.
doesn't, and he sets the
Right.
standard, frankly, for people who should
Right.
follow. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when and I'm grateful that he's continuing to use his platform as a force for good, but
Mm-hmm.
he only became a Democrat last month. He
Yeah.
only registered as a Democrat last month. And so nobody has to change their party affiliation if they don't want to be associated with Trump anymore. No one is saying you can't vote Republican anymore or be a conservative anymore. But what I would say is this should signal the beginning of the end of Trumpism and what we were talking about with Joe, which is just some way to try to salvage the core belief system of the GOP and then
Which
expose that,
is,
which is we want all the money and not to have to do anything
yeah,
for it.
it's all
So,
bullshit.
which we
Yeah,
know, right?
exactly.
But at least, what we also touched on the other day was that in the pre-Trump years, there was still a possibility to have respectful political discourse with people you didn't agree with politically. It was still possible. They
Yeah.
they could speak like normal people. They were respectful in the way they spoke, and then there was the rise of Trumpism and corporate media and AM radio with conservative talk shows. Like all of it was all like a whole big ball of a perfect storm. But here we are now, and we are faced with what Republicans see as an undeniable truth, and all they can do at this point is try to block the public from seeing it,
Yeah.
and barn door and horse, my friends, because the truth, as they said on the X Files, is out there. It's out
Yeah.
there. The X Files to the Epstein files. And you can fire Maureen Comey, but that's not going to make you
Nah.
look any better, rapey McPedo. Like, why did
Yeah.
you think that was a move?
It's
And
only
that
going to
just
make it
reiterates,
worse, right? It's like it
right,
just
right?
feeds into it.
It's like I said right before we went on the air. I mean, it just makes you look guiltier. And, and I also think, and I think this is a truth that has been a line through his entire, 10-year reign of terror, is that he wants to get caught. There are things that he continues to tell people that he did. He's guilty. If he can't stop talking about something, like the longer the Truth Social post, the more true the truth is that he's trying to cover up. Like
Right.
the stolen documents thing. He spent so much time on the stolen documents thing, and how many tweets from 3 and 4 in the morning where he's like, I
Oh
didn't do
God.
anything wrong.
Yeah,
And
he was nervous
like,
about
there
it.
are no stolen documents. If they were stolen documents, if they were classified, I have the right to classify them. I mentally unclassified them before I took them home. Like all of that shit. All of it is it's all the same enabling. But in this case, there are enough Republicans who are holding him accountable. And we saw it late last night. And if you happen to miss it because you did, Thomas Massey, who is no friend of ours, again, no friend of ours specifically. He has voted with Trump literally almost 100% of the time. He is spearheading the bipartisan effort in the House and says he has enough Republican votes in the House to move that vote forward to release the Epstein files, as we're seeing obstruction from Senator Mullen. Your name is Mark Wayne, Senator Mullen in the Senate, because the Senate wants the same transparency as the House. Okay, well, fine. You don't want it, Mark Wayne. There's really nothing you can do. It's coming. I don't think Mark Wayne Mullen has a whole lot of strength left. And Mark Wayne Mullen, he was the one cowardly hiding on January 6th behind some seats when his fellow MAGA traitors were trying to break into the Senate chamber. So I don't, I've spent some time thanking the bipartisan effort that we learned about last night, because Boebert and Marjorie Greene signed that letter. Eli Crane from Arizona signed that letter. Thomas Massey. Like, these are people who are not pro-Democrats at all. These are people who say Democrat Party and all of that bullshit that you hate.
I do.
And right now, what we're seeing is probably the very first true bipartisan moment that we have seen in the last decade, because those people are willing to stand up and say, we're willing to accept what's ever in the Epstein files because it's about transparency. They keep using that word over and over. Now, crazy Granny Bobo was like, Matt Gaetz should investigate this, and no, that is no.
Pedo investigating another pedo. Yes, this is what
know,
they do. That's what
Have a
I'm
2-year-old
sure.
babysit the baby. It's
Yeah.
just, what? That's not a smart idea. Not a smart
Yeah.
idea. She's not yet 40, so again, and I'm not giving any of these people a full pass, like, ever. Like, I don't agree with them about anything else, but I agree with them about this.
Well, they're
Okay,
doing
fine.
it because they understand that the base is not letting go of it. So they really are in a tough spot. If
Yes.
they're not doing it because they have any ounce of integrity in them. They
Oh,
don't.
no.
Not at all.
Again,
This is really
no.
not about transparency. It's about tamping down on the backlash that they fostered, that they cultivated. And the stupidity. This is how Traitor Trump is he's such a moron. To now to cycle through the excuses. And now it's a hoax. It's to me, I wonder, will these maggots wake up and see this
They're
is the
waking.
same playbook on everything that's true, except now, for whatever reason, you're not believing it. But then to call it, it's created by Democrats, like as if the Democrats would create this explosive dossier and then not release it. It makes absolutely no
ridiculous.
sense, right?
And you really have to sit there and point out the loop-de-loop, crazy conspiracy pretzel trail of lies that
It's
he
incredible.
created just around this, and then pointing out this is what he does with everything, because it's all about, he is like, if a game of 3-card Monty was wearing the world's biggest floppiest suit because somebody's got a lot of swollen edema because he's not a healthy human. That's the other thing. He's not healthy, and the press isn't reporting on that. And the craziness in the Oval Office yesterday where he's slamming Powell. Terrible appointment is a terrible. You appointed him, bitch.
Yeah. Imagine if that were Biden. Forget it. This is what drives me crazy. How we had to endure the entire Biden presidency, the double standard of the corporate media. If Biden said anything close to that, there would be round the clock, pundits and polling about his cognitive decline. But
right? I mean,
Yeah.
he could have fired Powell on day one.
Yeah,
Biden
he's so
could have.
terrible.
Like,
Right.
I don't want any Trump holdovers.
He
Could have
should
done
have.
that.
He should have, though.
He
This
could.
is the problem with Democrats, though. I mean, but they don't want to
So,
seem like they're playing politics. They don't. I
exactly.
gotta. It drives me nuts. Okay.
I know it does. I know it does. But let's just say that Jerome Powell has done a very good job, and he has not
Just
kowtowed to what Trump wants. Biden's ankles versus Trump's ankles. This tells it. Look, and Biden can bend over and touch the ground. That's also what that top.
yeah.
That's
That's
the
not.
story of
That
the
is
top
not
versus the
healthy.
bottom.
Yeah. Look
No,
at this. Trump's
that
not
is
a healthy dude.
there. He really isn't, and that's part of the reason why he's just like, let's fire Maureen Comey. I can't breathe anymore. Like we're
Wow.
very
Yeah.
close to. So that he's incredibly unhealthy. He is really scared.
Oh, I can't wait.
He's
to
definitely
that
not sleeping.
Great getting
He
up
doesn't
morning.
eat well, and so and here's the thing. Here's the other thing. Everyone's saying that he's going to pardon both Diddy and Ghislaine Maxwell because maybe he's all over the Diddy files too.
Oh, how
which
dare! How dare!
probably. But here's the thing. He can pardon her. That allows her to go sit in Congress and testify about whatever she wants.
She's disgusting. I know, but
I
they're
know
all.
she's
I mean,
disgusting,
I know.
but, like,
I know. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
again, they don't get a pass. You're doing the right thing this one time. It doesn't negate all of the other terrible shit that you did. But what
Fucking
it does
rapist.
is
A
at
female
least-
rapist is like the worst
I
of
mean,
the worst.
there is no excuse.
Right.
There is no excuse. And again, if he pardons her, because remember, he was going to during his first administration, he was going to, and
I wish her
somebody
well. Yeah.
somebody had the wherewithal to be like, no, bad luck. But now he has nobody competent around him.
I don't know
Like
if he would
last time
pardon her though, because
It would be the dumbest thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond what he's already doing. It gives her a reason to be. She could go on every talk show. She could go anywhere she wanted and be out of jail, free to walk around, free to go sit in the Senate and be like, hey, Mark Wayne Mullen, actually what we did was this. So, like there's a great, like, you want to keep verbally abusing this woman, she's going to turn. She will turn on you. You wish her well, bullshit you do. That was code for shut up or be Epsteined.
Yeah.
So if he pardons her, it just makes him look more guilty.
Well, that's
And-
why she's begging for. I think she's begging for a pardon. Her
was
lawyer is
supposed to-
begging for a pardon and sending him
Yeah.
direct messages. And I think the quid pro quo is clear. If you pardon her, she will not, drop a dime.
But
or
we
whatever.
don't need her. Mm-hmm. But we also don't need her, is the
Yeah.
other point. Is that even if he goes through with pardoning her, which is, again, stupid, it won't change what's out now in the public domain. It won't change this court of public opinion. In fact, it'll, like I said, make him look worse, right? So we don't necessarily need her testimony when they're on the brink of releasing the full Epstein files in the House. I understand, like, Mullen is the lone holdout in the Senate, and I don't think he'll be able to hold out much longer. And I'm going to still keep pushing for people to listen to the audio in my pinned tweet at Tara Dublin Rocks, because that's Katie Johnson's testimony. The case file number is on it. It is legitimate. I'm not the only person who's sharing it. I'm the only person who recorded it so that you can hear how terrible it is. And some people are sharing it. It's gaining traction. People are sharing it on my Instagram, which is great. I mean, it's not great that it exists. It's great that it's being shared, because I think, and we touched on this a little bit the other day, but to say Epstein files over and over again is to almost render it meaningless. Mm-hmm. You can also look away from a screenshot. You can, ignore a story that somebody emails you. You can be like, I don't believe it. If you're sitting in the House chamber and this audio is being played, and you have to stay in the chamber because you have to cast a vote. And it's being broadcast live on C-SPAN, because C-SPAN broadcasts everything that happens in the House and the Senate live. There's no way to ignore it. And then after that, your name, that's changing your reputation.
Well,
You
they
vote
will
for
say
a piece of
that
press.
that she dropped the case. I mean, she dropped it because she was afraid. She was being
Right, she was being threatened.
intimidated. Yeah.
It doesn't change the testimony's validity. It's still real sworn testimony. And once again, let's remind everybody that only this past April, Ron DeSantis unsealed more grand jury victim testimony. And I tweeted it yesterday, but everyone's forgotten about that because, and not the first time that he unsealed victim testimony. He did it last year as well, which is where that Katie Johnson thing came from. But I also think it was also available before that. That's when I first became aware of it in a more real sense. And I spent time sharing the screenshot, and people were like, oh, that's fake. Oh, that's, it's AI, blah, blah, blah. No, it isn't, because here it is over here, and here it is in this, and other people were sharing it. And there was a moment where I was just like, okay, fine. Like, I do voiceover work. I'm just going to read this like it's any other copy that someone put in front of me. That approach didn't work because I was really reading it, and I had to stop several times when I was recording it because I wanted to record it in one take. And my voice kept breaking. Like, I couldn't believe what I was reading.
It's horrific. It is.
It's horrific to read it. It's worse when you hear it. And that is the point. That is the point. I want people to hear what he did because it's awful. And I was sharing, like, someone responded to it yesterday because they'd never heard of it or seen it before, which is like insanity. Tells you what a failure the corporate media has been.
Oh, yeah.
We've been here all along telling the truth about it.
Right.
And she asked me, she's like, you're recording, like just how? And it took me like 2 hours to do it. It took me 2 hours to record something that's not even 2 minutes. When I used to go do like real voiceovers, this is like there's no voiceover work to be had here in Portland anymore. But I used to be able to knock out 30-second copy in a recording session that took 15 minutes tops. This took so much longer because it was awful to read out loud, but it's important, right? It's important that people know. And just like what happened to E. Jean, it's important that people heard those details that she talked about in her book, and those court transcripts need to be read. And that's why, you listened to her audiobook, and I bet when those moments really catch your attention because they weren't shared in the media.
Exactly. The way she describes how he pushed her against the wall and raped her. First he put his hand down her pants. He put his hand inside her and hooked his fingers. Why? Because, you're trying to hurt somebody, I guess. You're trying to exert your dominance. That's what it is. It's all about power, as we know. That is just, it's chilling and terrifying and horrific. And
and it's one of those details that really, if you're on the fence about believing somebody's story, if you're one of those people, a detail like that really indicates something experienced by the body. Because your body does not forget what that feels like. That violation. When someone puts their hand inside of you and you have not consented to that, you're not going to forget that. You're just not. It's like Christine Blasey Ford said during her testimony, indelible in the hippocampus is the laughter. When she was being raped and the boys were laughing.
Oh, wow.
It's those details. It's those details, because it's really easy to say, oh, he threw me down. Oh, he said this. I said no. It's those are things that are, even if true, can to some people sound like a trope that's been repeated. But when you get into those smaller details, the things that you can remember, and how much time she spends on how much time Trump's team was like, why didn't you scream?
Oh, I know.
Those are the details.
It's like right out of every it's every rape trial from time immemorial. The same old bullshit. What were you wearing? Did you flirt? Did you smile? Why didn't you scream? Why did you, why didn't you run? Why didn't you scream? Why didn't you blah, 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 blah. Well, you can never do anything right.
Right. And this wasn't the, like in E. Jean's case, they were alone on that lingerie floor in Bergdorf. So even if she had screamed, no one would have heard. It's hard to scream if someone has their hand over your mouth.
Yeah.
Or they've stuffed something in your mouth. Or whatever. You know what? The blaming the victim is such bullshit.
Always.
I did tweet earlier today. It's a screenshot of, hey, how about instead of waiting for a list, you just start believing the women? How about that? Because and then that's the other thing. If it's one person, one time with one accusation, you could, if you wanted to be that person, suspend some disbelief because you don't believe it. But when there are 25 women sharing a story with identical details, and some of that is also shared in E. Jean's book, because there are Natasha Stoyanov who testified. He did the same thing to her that he did to E. Jean, except he didn't get far enough to pull down her bottoms and stick his hand inside of her.
God.
It happened repeatedly to women who it happened to Lisa Birnbach, who covered him at Mar-a-Lago during a photo
Right.
shoot.
That's right. And I told you
Right?
about my
And
friend's story. I mean, it is hearsay, of
yes.
course. I have a
And
personal story about the same thing where someone I know who knows who socialized in that world of the Trumps where they socialized had the same experience where he was
right.
alone with her in a kitchen at a party. All of a sudden, it's just the two of them, and he just pounced on this woman.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what the fuck he
Disgusting.
does. He's a
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
baboon. I say, he's a baboon.
Definitely.
No offense to
Always.
baboons.
Always. Got a question in the chat from Pamela. So, dear Towers, do you think that DJT had Bibi Netanyahu bomb Syria as a distraction?
Could be.
Sure.
Yeah, they're in
Absolutely.
cahoots together. They're all.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, he's
both war criminals owned by Putin.
And
They want to flatten Gaza, turn it into Atlantic City of the Middle East.
The fact that Bibi,
Sure.
what did he just nominated the baboon for a Nobel Peace Prize, right? I mean, the whole thing is
Jerk
offensive.
Each other off some more, right?
Uh-huh.
They're a little tiny circle jerk of three: him and Putin and Trump. They're all three of them. And, meanwhile, we have Trump's ex bestie Elon Musk is tweeting, "Where's phase 2 of the files?"
Phase
so
2?
there's the phase 1. Well, because there was a phase 1 binder, and now there's allegedly a phase 2 binder.
I didn't
So
know
where is it?
the phases of the binders. What's going
Massey
on?
tweeted them. Thomas Massey tweeted a picture of the binders, phase 1, phase 2.
Phase 1. Why are there two phases?
Because there's so much terrible shit. Because you have decades of rapey shit on Trump. I was on Dino Badela's Sirius XM Progress show yesterday. Everyone knows our buddy Dean. He hangs out with us here on the Political Voices Network as well, and everyone should check him out. But every other Wednesday, we do a segment called Bullbusters. And yesterday, our buddy Brian Karam was on with us yesterday, and it was all Epstein. And it was just all like, it's out there. Like, you just fucking just admit this shit is out there. And if you do, then we can all move forward together. And it has now become it's not about the politics of it. It's about the humanity of it and the decency of it. And it does exist. Don't deny. But one of the things that we stressed, it's like, just like Trump even said he dared to say he was never on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. Like, fucking
He can't
come on.
help lie. Well, he knows his dumbasses they would eat every single lie, except this time it's not working.
Right? You can't say you were never on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, you baboon. You flew around on it last summer.
Right.
You had it repainted. You were actually
Well, that's a technicality. They're talking about the original Lolita Express, right? I mean, that they called it.
He had the original Lolita repainted, and he flew around and campaigned in it, wrapping himself in his own DNA crime scene, reliving his glory days. If walls could talk, if
oh God, well, I can't.
Bathrooms could speak, right?
Well, all I remember is I don't remember exactly where I heard the whole testimony on one of the documentaries I saw or something I read about how as soon as they would take off in that plane, Jeffrey Epstein would immediately get naked and start having sex with whoever.
That's when the party started.
Yeah, I mean, he like a dog, just like Matt Getz, same thing. That was testified that he was witnessed. One of the underage girls witnessed him having sex with another underage girl at a party, and he was like right out in the open just having sex.
Gross.
These people
So
they're vile. No decency, dignity. Oh, but they're Christians too. Remind me about that.
I don't know.
Again.
George Santos is on the brink of spilling all the tea that he's got on them, and you can also recall he does. He's been threatening. I can't attest to this personally. I've been blocked by that guy forever, but it apparently is a thing.
Well, he's going away. He's going to prison. So
I know. So he's gonna spill all that tea, honey, all of it, and then I was gonna say something. Someone else had some dirt that they. I mean, everybody is just confessing, basically. All of it is disgusting. And eventually, like Republicans are really gonna have to pick a lane here.
What are they
They
going to
really
do?
are. Like, and I don't know. I don't know. Let's put this out to the chat. Like I said earlier, like Joe Walsh is a really great example of yes, you can hold your leaders accountable, walk away from them, start over, not die, hold your head high, your spine can remain in place. You can still face your friends and family. The sun will rise, the earth it shall still spin. I believe that they can continue as an entity, but it's just like you can't deny, like Trump saying he wasn't on the plane. Like, come on. How long are you going to eat these
he's
lies?
a sociopath. I read a book years ago. It's a famous book. It's called The Sociopath Next Door. And I'm sure many people have heard of it or read it, written by Martha Stout. And in that book, she talks about, no, I mean, ever since I read that book, whenever I run into people, I'm like, is that a sociopath? But so, but the traits that Trump display, I mean, he is a sociopath or malignant narcissist or
All
he
of
has
it.
no, all of it. And
No
one of
moral
the
compass.
and one of the things that Martha Stout wrote about was that you will one of the signs if you have a child who is a sociopath would be you catch them with their hand in the cookie jar. You walk in the kitchen, they're not supposed to eat the cookies.
Yeah.
There they are with their hand in
Right.
the cookie jar. You say, "What are you doing? I told you you're not supposed to eat those cookies." I'm not eating the cookies. I don't have my hand. Yeah, like you're. What are you talking about? Your hand is in the cookie jar,
I'm
right there.
witnessing this
I'm seeing this
in front of me
I
now.
You're not seeing. I don't have my hand in the cookie jar. That's what. That's what
These aren't
Trump
the
does.
droids you're
Exactly.
looking for.
Yeah. That's what he
Yeah.
does.
But he can't Obi-Wan Kenobi this one away. You can't.
Which
not.
is
You
relief.
can't.
It's good. It's good to watch.
You
I
want
love
to talk about indelible in the hippocampus? This shit is the shit in the files is indelible, and it's here's what I believe could be what we see from this, because when you have House Republicans driving this vote, because that's what it is. It's a House Republican working with Democrats, true bipartisan effort to get this vote passed. Passes in the House. One holdout in the Senate. Mark Wayne Mullen's not going to hold out after that. He's going to be pressured to cave.
It might be a calculated tactic, though. Like, you can all vote and then you have cover, but I'll take the hit. Mark Wayne Mullen will take the hit because he, for whatever reason.
But why would we need the Senate? Would we even need the Senate if the House is like, okay, we got our votes, we're going to open it up here in the House? And then what they can do is start an impeachment trial in the House, because that's where all impeachment trials have to start anyway.
Yeah.
So you get,
would they do that?
In the House. Yes. You know why? Because the MAGA people will demand it. It's about accountability and transparency, right? So.
Wow, that is a dream.
It's not a dream.
Wishing on a star there. I don't know. They would do that.
It's not because they have enough Republican votes to
impeach their own Messiah.
We're not impeached yet, but just a minute. They have enough votes to get the Epstein files released in the House. Fine. Senate doesn't have to take any part of this. They can release it in the House. People in the House can be like, holy shit, look at this. Look, it's like Scarlett Johansson. Look at this one. Look at that one. Look at this. Look at that. This is grounds for impeachment because you lied. You lied on the record about this.
Of course it's grounds. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
Plus, raping little girls is a felony. Sex trafficking is a felony. Being an accessory to all of this is a felony. So in the House is where impeachment trials begin. You'll recall Representative Al Green already introduced articles of impeachment, but could not be moved forward because he didn't have enough Republican votes. But they have them now. So any Republican who's already ready to move the Epstein files vote forward should also be ready to move forward on an impeachment pretty fast. Because once the American people are made aware of what's in there, they're not going to sit for it, I would hope. Oh, child rape? No, that's fine. I still want my tax cuts. So
that would be pretty. Well, I mean, they've shocked and disappointed me before.
This would be.
I don't know.
Something they would never be able to come back from politically. This would be, because this is evidence of real shit. And if you stand with that, you're just, what is wrong with you, right? That's like, if Republicans are like, I can't stomach these details, then we're at a brand new place
Well,
currently.
let's
And
not get
I
ahead of
understand.
ourselves. I
I
think,
know it feels surreal and hard to believe.
yeah,
Again, if there was no Republican effort here, I would be where you are. But there's a Republican effort here. So this is the path to the third impeachment.
I'm more of a cynic because I think
I
that they
know
are,
we've been here before. I know,
yeah,
but this is different.
they're calculating. They understand their dilemma, their predicament, and they really don't
Well,
want to piss off the baboon until it becomes
that he's
that,
already
you
pissed.
know, that, well, it becomes that the base completely abandons him 100%, and that's
It's
we're not
happening.
there. We're not there
We're
yet.
getting there though. When we okay, again, we talked about this a little bit before. Nick Fuentes, who I am not celebrating in any way nor exalting, because Nick Fuentes is a horrible Nazi person who
Yeah.
started that whole Pepe the Frog, Groyper, and I don't think there's a dumber invented word in the world than Groyper. I don't understand why anyone would be proud to call themselves that. Again, we don't have time to get into, the whole Nazi movement as a whole. Nick Fuentes is very strongly for releasing the full Epstein files. He is done with Trump. He is done with MAGA. He is out there saying Democrats will annihilate Republicans and should rightly own the midterms. And this is all language that you're like, wait, but it's Nick Fuentes saying this, and I don't want to agree with him because he's a Nazi, right? That's a huge thing. He has a huge following.
Yeah.
Again, doesn't get a full pass. Still probably a Nazi, still probably hates me for being Jewish. But here is something where he chose the right path, in that he chose decency and humanity over MAGA in this particular moment. This is the red hat, red line.
Well, I mean,
Okay,
it's hard
so
for me to even
I know it
say
is.
that
It's
he's
surreal.
choosing decency and humanity.
In
This is the
moment.
guy that
Not always.
you
Not
know
always. In this moment.
is all about
not-
Holocaust denial and
Again,
wants to
and
kill
I
more
straight
people.
up- I straight up want to know if he truly still hates Jews and believes we all belong in a gas chamber, or that was a whole big bullshit thing to, just make some money and get a following, which is terrible
makes it
enough.
worse. It really,
Right?
yeah.
So, not that I would easily forgive, but an apology is a good thing. I don't expect it. I don't expect it. But the biggest, Matt Walsh is, fuck you on. He's like, walk away, MAGA. It's time. We're done. He's cooked.
But who
We're
are they?
finished. Matt Walsh.
See, they are. They will go with JD Vance. It will just shift.
And that's what Joe Walsh was saying on Tuesday. But JD Vance is helping him cover up the Epstein files, even though he used to say, why won't they release the Epstein files?
Well,
So if
maybe
he's complicit,
well.
gets removed too.
JD Vance is more devious and sinister than Trump. Clearly, he is funded by Peter Thiel, who is an open Nazi. Well, raised by Nazis. I don't know if he's an open Nazi, but he was raised by Nazis. He also funds, Curtis Yarvin, and is someone who is a Nazi and a fascist, and says that that democracy is the worst thing that ever happened to humanity. So,
Right.
And so he funds JD Vance and fascist Curtis Yarvin, and JD Vance is a sinister, devious, he's America hating puppet, of these billionaires. So I find him more, he has no qualms about selling anybody out. That's why.
No.
I think whatever he's doing, he will stab Trump in the back and go on whatever and talk about what a great, leader he is. That's JD Vance. He is.
I'll still be interested to watch the fallout from this, because it's going to fall on JD Vance, and it's going to fall on Pete Hegseth, and it's going to fall on Caroline Leavitt, and it's going to fall on Susie Wiles and Stephen Miller and Dan Bingo Bongo, and especially Pam Bondi, especially her. Because like Joe was talking about in 2013, she had every opportunity to arrest Trump back then, and she didn't, because he gave her $25,000.
Right. I mean, that's all it took.
Easily bought. Oh, this is the point I wanted to make earlier. You're putting out all of this stuff about the bipartisan commission putting out this letter to move the vote forward. Massey tweets, please join me in thanking everyone. And somebody responded with an ask to Grok about how many of the people on that tweet were getting money from AIPAC, because they have all of that tied in together in their minds. And what we saw the other day was people voting against it, like Virginia Fox and Brian Jack, and they all took money from AIPAC. And there's a screenshot of, like, somebody made a meme that I circulated. There's 7 of them. So this account asks Grok, and all but 2 have never taken money from AIPAC in this list that's pushing the Epstein file vote forward. And one, like Thomas Massey, like they won't work with Thomas Massey. They especially don't like him. So that's interesting. I think that's an interesting statistic to keep in our back pocket. Like I don't have it in front of me because I'm talking to you, but if I did quote tweet it, I believe. It's interesting just to see who won't take money from AIPAC in the Republican Party, because there were Republicans on the list who don't. That's interesting. There are Republicans who will.
But what does that have to do with the Epstein?
There's this whole thing about something about Epstein's ties to Israel and how they're protecting because of his tie. So here's this: if Jeffrey Epstein was best friends with Donald Trump is all cozy with Bibi Netanyahu. It's really not that far of a reach from Epstein to Bibi and money and power and all of that stuff. So I don't entirely know what MAGA's hard on is for the Epstein-Israel connection. But again, if they can bring up Israel and throw it into anything, they totally will. Like the New York City mayor race. By the way, I have reached out to the Mamdani campaign to see if we can get an interview with them. I went to their website. There's no phone number that I could find, but there's a form that I filled out, like, please, because to contact us form. I'm like, please contact us, because I would like to have a very, honest conversation about this. You live in Queens. You have a real stake in the New York City mayor's race, and I'm an American Jew who hates it when people use Israel as a political talking point where it really doesn't belong. Right. So, there's a Jewish population in New York City that cares very much, and I understand that. And it's a very complicated issue. And my mom and stepdad do live in New York, so I do have a lot of skin in the game, literally. But I want to hear things coming from him directly, and I think that's an important conversation to have. Just, like it's important for, like having Joe Walsh explaining how the Republican mindset works. Because I know I've said this before, like I don't have to agree with you, but if you can explain to me why you believe what you believe or why you vote the way you vote, at least I understand who you are, right? I get you. Like, oh, okay. I don't like it, but I get it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like the whole thing with Mamdani and being an anti-Semite. This is what they call anyone that says anything halfway humane about what's happening to the people in Gaza. So then it's like, oh, you're an anti-Semite. No, I just disagree with the policies of Bibi Netanyahu and Israel at this moment. So it doesn't mean, has nothing to do with, it's like as if I criticize Lindsey Graham, then that makes me anti-Christian when he claims to be a Christian.
Anti-South Carolina.
Yeah, it's just bullshit. It's not, I mean, he has criticized the government policy regarding Palestine, but and he supported the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, which is what the right-wingers are saying that's anti-Semitic. It's not. This is a tactic that's been used for generations to get these higher learning institutions to divest from, for example, big oil. They use the same thing to get them to stop contributing or stop taking money from those big oil, whatever they call them. What I'm saying. So.
For sure.
Whatever. And it's just, to me, it's so irritating, and it's a distraction. And of course, it has nothing to do with New York. He's not going to be. I mean, he's the mayor. He's running to be the mayor of New York. What does it have to do with? I mean, he's talking about bread and butter economic policies, and it's a distraction because
Right.
they're also heaping a lot of anti-Muslim tropes and slurs against him, to
Of
truthfully.
course.
So, but that's I guess no one is worried about that. But it's he has a track record of addressing the anti-Semitism, and it's like one of those things. You know what it is? It annoys me too because like it reminds me when during the campaign when it didn't matter what Joe Biden said, and then it didn't matter what Harris said. She doesn't address the economics. She doesn't address the bread and butter issues, which that's all she was fucking doing, and
It's so infuriating. She was an economics major.
exactly.
Okay. And I don't know how many times I shared it, but it's whatever.
But that's what I'm saying.
23 Nobel
It doesn't.
Prize winning economists wrote an open letter saying Donald Trump's plan would tank the economy and hers was
Yeah.
significantly better.
That's
like,
right.
duh.
That's right. So he
Duh.
does address it, and then they keep saying he doesn't address it, and he addresses it. In fact, he says he supports policies to increase city funding to prevent hate crimes, including anti-Semitism, and
Right.
also expressed disappointment at being labeled anti-Semitic, and
Yeah,
so
I mean, you don't want that sticking to you, especially if
it's
it's not true.
it's lazy.
It's
Yeah.
Well, the finer points of a political discussion are lost on people who
Right.
just cling to a cool, oh, Genocide Joe, that's alliterative. I'll
Uh-huh.
run with that.
Exactly.
Right? So, as an American Jew, I am here to tell you that you can be critical of the government of Israel while still supporting the people and
Exactly.
hoping that they can enjoy a livelihood. I believe, again, I know when people ask me about this, I have one friend who like just will not give him 1 inch, believes he's anti-Semitic, believes all, and I was just like, you have to listen to me when I talk because she won't let me. But she's like, you can't excuse an anti-Semite. I'm like, dude, I'm not seeing this for
Wow.
myself. Like, let
Yeah,
me
give us
let
an
me get in
example.
there.
Right.
Exactly. And I was like, as well as I do. You can be critical of BB, like we can be critical of Trump. It doesn't make me anti-American to be critical
Exactly.
of Trump. It makes me more American to be critical of Trump.
That's
So,
right.
and I think that's one of the distinctions, like Joe was talking about. He's like, I'm massively pro-Israel, but I'm anti-Netanyahu. And that's exactly the stance, right? And that's not anti-Semitic. Just because you're against Netanyahu, that doesn't make you an anti-Semite. It makes you anti-genocide, I think, and anti-being a war criminal, which is a good
starvation
thing.
and
I don't know.
ethnic cleansing, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not into that myself. So I'm into everybody leaving each other alone to live, which is basically the core tenet of all world religions that nobody ever lives by. I like, it's like we have been a planet of hypocrisy forever. And it's like, because
Oh,
the
yeah.
10 Commandments, every single one of the 10 Commandments gets broken every single
Oh,
day
God, please.
around the world, right? Okay, so like, here's a list of rules that you think everybody should live by, and then you immediately go out and break them. Maybe they shouldn't be. Maybe that shouldn't be a thing.
yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't bring religion into things, because religion is hypocrisy. If you don't live by these standards that you continue to push, then shut your mouth, is my take. That's me. So I don't enjoy hypocrisy. I think there's no reason for it. And if anybody really cared about peace, we would be living in a peaceful society. But they don't. I don't know why. As much as we know about the 10 Commandments, a lot of it is pretty basic stuff. Don't kill anybody. That should be pretty easy. Don't take other people's shit. That seems pretty easy. Don't fuck your neighbor's wife. Don't do that. It's pretty easy not to do that. You have two hands. If what you're having at home isn't satisfactory, take care of it on your own. Don't, that's just me. That's just me. Don't, if you want what your neighbors have, work a little harder and buy it for your own damn self. Like, don't take it from them. Again, like, it just seems like basic humanity stuff that people are incapable of doing. Again, there's a 5-year-old that lives in me that just wants everybody to be friends. And I think it's, you watch your parents fight enough, or you are raised in a loud environment. You just want everyone to be quiet and get along, which is, I think, not wrong to want.
Well, that's the truth.
It's not the world we live in, and I'm aware of that. And I get angry and I get salty as much as the next person, but it's because I care. I wouldn't have emotional reactions if I didn't care. and that's what makes us human.
Yeah.
That's what makes us human, and
And progressive,
you
I
know,
think. It's to me,
hopefully,
it's common
hopefully.
sense. It seems,
Well,
but
we're supposed to move forward, not backwards as
well,
a
people
society.
don't. Unfortunately, I guess people aren't. They don't share the same goals. Like JD Vance. If only he would come out and say, "Yeah, you know what? I don't believe in democracy. Like my benefactor, I think it's horrible, and that that's a legitimate point of view if you have it." But they can't. They can't come right out and say it. They have to pretend. They have to. Everything is, oh well, we're doing it for the people while they're tearing the people
Right? No, you're
down.
not.
And
Yeah,
that
exactly.
this is why I always say we will win, because they have to pretend they care. They have to
Right.
pretend that they
But
are
we
for
really don't.
democracy. Exactly. And you can only hold that up for so long. And
Right.
I believe, yeah.
It's what we need right now, and it's why we do what we do. Like, it's
I
really
think so.
important. We spend so much time of our lives pushing as hard as possible to get the truth out into the world because it matters so very much. I have a great friend of mine who passed away 3 years ago. There's this guy who was writing an article about me in the Oregonian newspaper because I used to be on the radio here. I used to be like a local celebrity and enjoyed that, and then got stuck working in the service industry, but have always tried to fight for what's right in the world. My friend Betty, bless her, I miss
I'm
her every
sorry.
day. She's I have a tattoo for her on my shoulder so that she's always with me. She told this reporter, she was like, you know what, Tara just wants to do right. She just fights so hard to get to do the right thing in the world, and she uses her voice all the time, and she just fights so hard. And I can't not care about the things that I care about. And whether it's getting the truth out into the world because it matters so much, or wanting my book to be read, or wanting people to support us financially, these are the things that matter right now. These are the things that we have to be super focused on. Like, we're here at it's not like we're not being paid millions of dollars. We're not funded by ABC. We're not funded by Fox News. We don't have a huge corporation behind us pushing us. It's I'm hand to mouth, and it's important to support independent media now more than ever. We're the only ones consistently telling the truth, and I want us always to be seen as a destination for that when people are seeking a respite from the bullshit. Island of Truth, right here, on the Political Voices Network, and everyone who comes and hangs out with us on the Political Voices Network, everyone who writes, everyone who podcasts, everyone who comes on as a guest. It's
Yeah.
really important that everybody who does this supported. And so the people who are spending time with us right now, Jim, thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
Jim.
being there to be our moderator. But everybody who's in the chat, if you have a spare $5 that you can kick out for a super chat, or drop it into our Venmo, or sign up for a paid Substack, now's the time. It really is, because this is how you get the truth to rise to the top and break through all of the miasma of
I
obfuscation
think so.
that the Republicans put out there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to take.
This is the problem
If
in the
Peter
world here.
Doocy wants the truth, Peter Doocy on Fox News wants the Epstein files released. This is a moment where we can collectively finally, when you have a really, sorry to get gross, but like a deeply embedded zit on your back, and then finally it gets expressed, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
the pain is gone. Trump is the biggest zit on
Oh
on
God.
on the complexion of this country, a blight. We all have to be like a collective Dr. Pimple Popper and get in
Ugh.
there and just excise it already, excise it, cauterize it, burn it, and rebuild on top. Yeah, what's going on with that? Y'all see that?
Yeah. What is?
That means that it means there was an IV port in his
Well,
hand.
yeah, and
Said
he has
the
a really
form-
bad bruise there, right? I don't know why
because
this won't move
so
over.
I'm the former wife of a doctor. And that is, when you get an IV port in your hand, it makes a huge bruise. So if you're getting, I don't know, dialysis or chemotherapy or something else to treat your congestive heart failure, or you're getting IV something, your hand
Yeah.
is a really good source, because sometimes you can't go to the vein. Maybe you've been to a vein too many times.
Huh.
But a hand port is real serious business. They're not fucking around when you get a hand port when you go under anesthesia. He has had a hand port in his hand multiple times. It creates a bruise, and they put makeup on top of it that doesn't even fucking match his hands. Look at that. That's a bruise. That's a repeated site for a hand port where a needle goes in there.
Ooh.
It's disgusting. It's not disgusting. It's just
He's disgusting.
He's living he's disgusting.
Well, he could just be honest about it, but of course you can't do that.
We've talked about this too. Nope. We are never going to get the real story from a real doctor, and we are going
because
to get
maybe
some
there are other people that might want to. I'm going through this too, and this is normal, and blah blah blah. But he couldn't do that, and that's
trying
what
to take away your health care.
Yeah, and true, that's true. But this is what we're talking about with strength. He's the tiniest, weakest little baby going, and they're not strong in any sense of the word. They really aren't.
That's right.
They perform. They have a performance of strength when it's weakness. Absolute to the bone
and
weakness.
And they equivocate being sick with being weak. Like when Hillary Clinton had a cough. Boy, they seized on that. Remember how long they played? They were like, she's got pneumonia. She's not healthy. She's unwell. She needs to go home and take a nap. Hello.
Oh, my God.
Who's in a basement? Nobody. So, it's really... And he is forced to go out in public because being ill means being weak. Now, remember when he had COVID? During the first administration, right after he gave it to Joe Biden at the debate, he refused to be taken away by ambulance, which would have gotten him to Walter Reed faster. But being taken away in an ambulance looks weak. Being taken away in a helicopter is fucking badass. So it's all about, like you said, the optics.
Yeah.
So the makeup on the hand, all of that. And there's a reason he takes, yes, a president, when he's addressing someone, they always have the podium. He should never allowed himself to be photographed like that.
Right.
It's just sitting there all flopped and famished, which is a Yiddish word, which means you're messy and it's all over the place. But those cankles versus Biden's cankles, plus that port on his hand tells a huge, huge story. And it's like I've said repeatedly, they are never going to tell us what's wrong with him. One day he just won't be alive anymore. And we're going to get a statement of, our beloved leader was taken in the arms of Jesus and taken up to meet his maker and is standing at the pearly gates right now having a conversation, being embraced by the arms of the Lord. He is going to fucking die on the toilet like Elvis with his phone in his hand, half a post for Truth Social written. He's going to be like,
it'll be
Kofifi. Hillary. That's how he's going out. That's why
we won't learn about it
too.
Yeah. Well, it'll be like Henry the Sixth. We won't learn about it for days or weeks even, and they'll act like he's not dead until JD Vance gets all his devious plots in action.
Right.
So
and he looked like 8,000 buckets of shit in a Dixie cup yesterday in the Oval Office. Like the makeup hasn't been blended in a long time.
No,
who doesn't tell him? Why don't they tell him to at least? I think he does it himself.
No, he must do it himself, and nobody has the courage to say anything to him. You look ridiculous.
You need
you
one
look
of those blender sponges.
Yeah,
like the
he looks like Nora Desmond, right?
It's just go up to him and go, here, sir, you need to blend. Why do you? I mean, maybe his entire staff just hates him as much as we do, and they want him to look ridiculous.
Right. But he looks like
someone who cared would tell him to blend.
He looks like whatever happened to Baby Jane. It looks like Betty Davis, like in her night cream makeup. That's what it looks like.
Oh my God, it's crazy. It's crazy. But it's just another example of you let this clown walk around looking like this. Like, I don't think that's bragging rights for you or anyone else. Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today on the Tara Show. Another hour of quick and dirty truth. Just that's how you bring it. Boom goes the TNT dynamite. Make sure you are back with us on Tuesday. Who knows what the hell will happen between now and then, by the way.
Really?
Right? Just who knows? Please share the show with all of your friends.
Please, and thank you, Ed.
Rock and roll love story.
Ed the second for your super chat. Thank you, Ed.
A super duper Ed chat.
Super chat.
Ed. I love a
Keep it
super chat.
coming.
It makes me feel super.
Yeah, it does.
It makes me feel super duper in a time where we all need to have each other's backs. All right, everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday, same Tara time, same Tara channel. Don't forget about the Tara Buster Show tomorrow night.
Yes, and tomorrow,
Right?
Yes, there will be a guest on the show discussing sociology of the times we're in. And now his name is escaping me. I think it's David. David Barton. Am I?
All right.
Anyway, all right. Well, come on back. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm an idiot.
All right, you guys, have a weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday.
All right. See you tomorrow and Tuesday.
Bye, bye. That was the Tara Show.